On this day in history, 1931, inventor Thomas Alva Edison died in West Orange, New Jersey at the age of 84. Hands down, one of the greatest inventors in history. I love learning about inventions, but I think it's because I need to understand the reasoning behind certain things. For example, who named the walkie-talkie, and why isn't a vacuum cleaner called a pushy-sucky? Live from Wattpad Nation, it's the Corner Booth, your weekly broadcast where we talk about all things centered around the big orange W, and we have an amazing panel for you tonight. This episode is our 29th episode. We are also in Season 2, but it's entitled Moderation in Moderation. We'll get into the reason why it's called that a little bit later in the episode, but the description down below, of course, is adulting is a real thing. This week, the panel discusses how they balance the real world with the worlds they build. And that's going to bring us to the portion of the broadcast right at the top. We call it the High Five, and it's just a fun little way to introduce this panel. And today, we're going to be doing this huge experiment, like we do with most of our High Fives. And what's going to happen is this week I took something that each of these lovely ladies have written, and I switched one word. I took one word out of this a sentence, and I replaced it with something stupid and ridiculous. So the game, the way that it's going to work, is that everybody is going to have a chance at guessing who wrote the sentence that I have manipulated to a terrible degree. And that being said, the panel is actually going to rotate with who is first at guessing, because everybody's going to have a guess. Now, ladies, if you're looking at this statistic-wise, because I know that you look at everything in statistics, first of all, you have a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right if you are the first person to guess. Now, if you're wrong, then your options are shrinking. So we're just gonna kind of go with this. Like I said, I will say this, ladies. Whether you want to believe it or not, you did write these sentences, and I will let you also know that if you guess the title of the book, I will award you a bonus point. So. Here we go. I am going to start with Ashlyn McCowan. You will be first to bat. Here we go. But all is not as simple as it seems, and Madonna must discover the truth before she destroys herself and what she holds most dear.
But all is not as it seems. It's not mine. Michelle?
Ooh, no, incorrect.
Oh.
Jessica?
I'm pretty sure that's mine. I think that's from my summary of Mermaid Bride.
Oh, yes, very good.
See, I knew that one.
Oh, no way! All right, well.
I have her in my library.
You might have a way to redeem yourself on this. Okay, so Jessica, you are now going first. Ashlyn, you will be last. Here we go. Suddenly, at the age of 21 and at the beginning of Oktoberfest, her visions are quelled and she must discover why.
Oh, I know this one.
Let's see. I am going to guess. I'm gonna kind of throw this out here. I'm gonna guess it is Ashlyn's.
Ooh, incorrect. Kellyanne Blount.
Oh.
So I think it's Michelle Hayes.
It is. Would you like to try to guess the title of the book?
How deep the roots go?
It is! 2 points! Congratulations!
Okay, I have to ask a question though, Nat. There is no Oktoberfest in my book.
I know. I switched one word. I told you. I switched around Mardi Gras.
Oh, Mardi Gras.
Yes, Mardi Gras, baby.
And of course, yes, Jessica B. Fry, she does not write about Madonna. She writes about Mardi, so.
Not yet, anyway. Maybe she'll make it into a mythical retelling.
I'm really excited about that. Honestly, I am. All right, Michelle. Let's see if you can do it. Okay. Here we go.
Battle up.
With no one to keep her disorder in check and hallucinations of a dead potato driving her insane, she falls into an isolation that could prove detrimental.
A dead potato. Ashlyn McCowan.
Yes!
Yes!
And what would be that story?
Stained glass souls, baby.
It is!
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome. Okay, all right. So this is
Am I the
the
winner
very
so
last
far?
one. And actually, we should all know who it is because it's the only one that's not been guessed. But here it is anyways. If you can guess the name of the book, Miss Ashlyn McCowan, then you will get a point. Okay? Because we all know it's Kelly's.
Okay.
Kidnapped, blindfolded, and thrown into the trunk of an elephant, Adriana Vega's fate with Eastern Pierce has taken a terrible turn in a deadly direction.
I know this.
It's captured.
It is captured!
Yeah.
Award-winning book itself, yes. All right, well, Kelly and Michelle, you both tied. I do not have another one just at
I
the
didn't get one.
You didn't? Well, you answered one correctly.
Well, that's true.
Okay, well, how about this? We will do a tiebreaker between you and Michelle, okay?
I'll be a co-winner.
I'm
okay.
going to do this. I want to do this at the ready because I do want to let everybody know that a lot of the stuff that's done on these broadcasts, it's completely on the fly. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring up a panelist that you do not know who I'm looking up, which is great. So hang on. Let's see. And I am going to switch around one word from a sentence. And hopefully you guys will see magic happen in real time. Okay, here we go.
Oh, look at your cat.
I know.
He's needing attention.
He's like, hey, Mom, what are you doing?
Okay, here we go.
All right.
If you can guess the panelist, then 1 point. If you can guess the name of the book, then 2 points. Okay.
Ready.
These words usually sneak into my sleeping bag at the most inopportune moments.
And it's a member of the corner booth?
It is a member of the corner booth.
Repeat it again. Can you repeat
These
that?
words usually sneak into my sleeping bag at the most inopportune moments.
Is it Rita Kovac?
No.
Sarah Benson.
No, it is Mr. Thomas Bonnick with the book 10 poems, and the sentence actually goes, these words usually sneak into my consciousness.
Okay, well, we'll just be co-winners.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. That's fine. That's cool. But, so congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. So that brings us to my favorite part of the broadcast, and let me tell you why. It's called Cream or Sugar, and it's because we put you in the spotlight, Wattpad Nation. And what this panel is going to do is they're going to tell you a cream, which is a relatively unknown Wattpadder who has risen to the surface, or at least the top of their library, or a sugar, which is an established Wattpadder whom you just want to show some love. So we're going to get this kicked off in that same order. Miss Ashlyn McCowan, who do you have for cream or sugar?
Okay, so the first person I have that I've probably given a shout out to before is Katie Gwynn with her book Fate's Journey. So she's written a lot of really strong Loki fan fiction, and she started, this project is like somewhat new, so I just figured I'd throw a little sugar her way. So it's part of the Fate series, and it's about this girl named Rona. So she's fallen in love with Loki, and they've sort of fallen out. They've discovered they couldn't work. So what makes the book kind of unique is that she's gone on this journey to discover her father and her heritage. And I liked the theme of the fact that she has fallen in love, but it's been postponed for a little while. So the people that are in love and that they're still sort of, they have this idea of them together, are going through this necessary process of change and readjustment in their lives. So I would definitely recommend that. And it's, it's exciting. She's like a SHIELD agent, and very cool. The second one is The Bed She Made by Alicia Hyder at Alicia Hyder on Wattpad, and I'm sharing this shout out with Michelle. So this book's
We
called
share
The
here.
Journey
We do.
We had no idea.
No, we didn't. It was crazy. Of Journey Durant, and her father warned her, someday you'll have to lie in the bed you've made. So before she didn't believe him, and now she does. In the first half of the book, she's sort of this like bad girl idea. She's living close to the edge. She's got kind of a boyfriend that seems like trouble. In the second half, which I haven't gotten to yet, there's kind of things start to get interesting. There's an ex-boyfriend, and there's all these old secrets. And so the thing that I really loved about this book is the plot and characters are sort of edgy, and they're sort of a little bit out there, but it doesn't come across as melodramatic or cheesy. It's like very genuine and very grounded. And that's really, I definitely would recommend that. So yeah.
Well, thank you much, Miss Ashlyn. Miss Jessica, who do you have for cream or sugar?
Well, today I have a cream. I've been friends with this Wattpadder for a while now. Her name is at Amanda June Haggerty, and she is a really great writer. And probably one of her best stories, in my opinion, the one that I've enjoyed the most, is Little Lacey. But one of the biggest reasons that I want to highlight her is because she is such a giving individual. She is willing to work with writers, and she's provided very good constructive criticism. Now, she does give it without sugar, so it can sometimes be a little bit harder for writers who just want to be told it's great in sprinkles. But she knows what she's talking about, and she's a fantastic member of the community, and she gives whenever she's able to. So just all in all, a wonderful individual. Plus, her stories are quite well told and entertaining, too.
Oh, thank you, Miss Jessica. We'll definitely have to check her out. Kelly and Blount, who do you have for us?
Hey guys, so I have a cream shout out this week that goes to a super talented screenwriter who has started writing her first novel, and I'm talking about my friend and new Wattpadder, Sarah_DW. Sarah_DW has started writing a really great novel. It's a dystopian society novel filled with super strict rules, and everything is mandated from the citizens' nightly curfew down to the date they are scheduled to die. So the main character, Darius, isn't one to follow rules, and the first chapter opens up with him breaking several. So he's going to just be this rebellious character who's, fighting for something, we're not sure what yet. If you're a fan of dystopian novels, I definitely recommend it. It has a really strong main character with a really conflicted heart. So I would definitely recommend this novel and check her out. She's new to Wattpad, and she's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Michelle Hayes, who do you have for us?
I have the same as Ashlyn.
Yeah.
Yes, Alicia Hyder. She is one rockin' chick. I chose her because she is a very unique writer with a strong voice, but I also chose her because she is one author that supports others, and she is a fantastic Wattpad member. And lastly, she rocks some kick butt blue hair. So I won't.
That is a feat, I will say.
She's so cool, man. I won't. The synopsis is the same as the one that Ashlyn provided, but definitely The Bed She Made. It's sitting. I believe it was sitting at #1 the other day.
Yeah.
Check it out. Great ride.
Sweet. Thank you, Michelle. And just to let you know, Wattpad Nation, keep writing, keep doing your thing, because you never know when you might show up on one of these broadcasts. I do want to thank all the people playing on the thread. Sorry, I'm kind of going back and forth from screen to screen, especially when I'm doing screen shares. So hello, everybody that is doing the live chat. I know we have a couple panelists on it as well. So please, at any time you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. If you're watching this as a recording, please leave your questions in the comment section. You can also ask them on Wattpad itself using our hashtag on Twitter or Facebook. We'd love to get back to you and answer your questions in real time or next week. We'll let you know how that goes. And so now we are at the meat of the discussion, which we call the entree. And like I said, tonight we're talking about adulting, which, okay, this is a word that's worked its way into the pop culture vernacular, hardcore, very much so. And Kelly, just to kick this off, I would like to know what that word means to you.
Okay, so to me, adulting has definitely picked up a lot of steam lately. It's being used all over social media. I posted a meme earlier this week, something about I am not adulting until I have my coffee, and if I don't have coffee, I'm more like a giant 2-year-old throwing a tantrum because their blanket's in the wash. So I think one of the reasons it's so popular is because it's a general way to describe all of the responsibilities adults are faced to deal with on a daily basis, especially responsibilities which we aren't necessarily fond of. So for me, it comes down to like 3 main points, okay? So the first one is having major responsibilities such as a job, mortgage payments, children, fur babies, and taking care of them. In my mind, you aren't adulting unless you are working and paying the bills. And then I like to say, too, that honestly, I think it'd be a lot more fun to stay home and, play with the cats and the dogs and write all day and watch Netflix. However, adulting requires me to work and load the dishwasher and wear clothing other than pajamas in public. So it can be real lame.
You know, I know some real people that actually wear pajamas in public. They can be found at the local Walmart. It's interesting.
That is so true.
So the next thing is that goes with adulting is doing activities that you don't want to, such as raking the leaves. I might not want to rake the leaves. However, adulting forces me to do this so my neighbors don't hate us. And then the third point is making grown-up decisions, even though a carefree childlike choice would be easier or more fun. For example, I might want to stay up writing all night long. However, and I can choose to do that. However, if I did that, the next day I would really struggle at work, and adulting would lead me to try to get a little bit of writing in and then some sleep before going to work the next day. Again, not always the most fun choice there is out there, but it's what we have to do. And I did look it up. The Adulting Urban Dictionary definition is adulting is a verb, and it is to do grown-up things and hold responsibilities such as a 9-to-5 job, a mortgage payment or rent, a car payment, or anything else that makes one think of grown-ups.
I like it. I like it. Thank you so much for kicking this off for us, Kelly. It's going to take us to question number 1, panel. Unfortunately, we're all forced to adult. Now, when we're overwhelmed, others will often say, you need to take a breather, or slow it down a bit, or, and this is something I've been told over and over, take everything in moderation. Now, what's some of the advice people have offered to you when you're struggling with balance? And did you take said advice? I am going to start with Ashlyn McCowan.
Okay, I have actually found that the biggest advice people give me about balance is not advice concerning balance so much as to kind of disregard the balance. So people tell me, you're so stressed out, you just need to go have fun, which is completely unhelpful, right? And then other people sort of talk to you about scheduling and your commitments and priorities and, what can you do to readjust, and it's sort of this idea of like they're encouraging you to, or me, to keep a schedule when I'm already keeping a schedule, and it's just stuff that kind of goes in a circle. So my mother gives me the best advice, and she just tells me that I'm a strong person, and that I wouldn't have come to the place in my life I am if I wasn't strong. So just to kind of trust God with that and just like focus on the important things, which for me right now is school, for other people it might be work, and then just kind of let the rest fall into place. And just not get wrapped up in the whole issue of balance and of, juggling all these things. So.
Sure, absolutely. The juggling thing. The thing about juggling is that you have multiple things in the air and gravity takes its toll. So, yeah, you get it. I do want to let you know, Ashlyn, that Lucy Rhodes asked a question. She said,
cool.
Story behind your epic hair and makeup. Please don't tell me you do look so amazingly put together every day.
No. Okay, I'm actually competing in a pageant at school, and I had a photo shoot like 30 minutes before this, so I didn't have time to de-glam.
Yeah, because she has so many people asking for autographs and her phone number and stuff like that. So yeah. So please keep those questions coming. They can be totally tangent. It's cool. We're okay with that. All right, back to question number 1. Jessica, please share with us some of the advice that people have offered to you when you're struggling with balance, and whether you or not you took it.
Well, I've gotten a lot of advice over the years for balance, or actually, again, it goes more toward slow down. Life's not a journey. No, life is a journey, not a race. Make sure that you're enjoying it. And oftentimes, I'm told, work smarter, not harder. There are a number of people in my life who feel that I'm working too hard, but I'm juggling a law firm and a copywriting business and writing in general, among other things. And what I've concluded, though, is the advice comes from a good place. They really want to see the best for me. But the challenge comes down to the fact that it is a journey, but I'm the one that knows where I want to be. I know where I want to wind up, and it may not necessarily be where they think that I'm going to wind up. So sometimes the advice is good, but other times it's off base. And so what I've found is I don't quite take their advice. Instead, I look to see, okay, 5 years from now, where would I like to be? What goals do I need? If I don't want to be unhealthy, then I need to take steps to take care of my health. But knowing that it is a journey, that I know that ultimate destination, and it's not just, oh, I need to unplug and just play games or have fun or do something like that. I mean, sure, those are good things, but really tailoring that advice to my specific situation rather than taking a general pill or whatever you want to define it. I'm not good at resting, though, so I do need to get better about that.
No. As long as you recognize the problem, I think that's half the battle. You got to admit your faults. Yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, we're gonna scoot over to Miss Kelly.
I just read your response, Nat. My cat.
Okay, just so you know, Wattpad Nation, we have a private chat that goes on with the panel. So in case there's something wrong during a broadcast or so on and so forth, we could just do private messages. But I think 9 times out of 10, I just try to make the panel laugh. I know one time it was Thomas Bonnick was saying something. He was on with us, and I know Michelle was on the same panel because he asked something like there was some sound that happened. He was like, "Wait, what was that sound?" And then I just typed back really fast. I farted, and then you can see Michelle just get right.
Mortified.
Yeah, exactly. I try to break this panel. That's my job. So anyways, Kelly, you were saying?
Yeah, so I said that if you hear a raptor in the background, it's just my cat Biscuit. And then Nat said raptors, there might be something wrong with your cat. Okay, so adulting. So a lot of times people tell me I have too much on my plate. And they might say something, and I think Jessica nailed it by saying it's from a good place. But it's not necessarily helpful. But they might say, just go home and rest, or you should get more sleep, or, maybe don't work on that story right now. And so, honestly, it kind of depends who's giving me the advice. I can be very stubborn, and it can be difficult for me to listen if certain people are saying things to me. And when it comes back to cutting back on something I really like to do and I really love and want to do. So, yeah, I tend not to listen. I tend to kind of do my own thing. And, I mean, if it gets to the point of where I'm just like, so exhausted or so this or so that, usually my body will tell me, hey, you need to take a break, you need to slow down. But I try and do as much as possible and just hope it works. Because like Jessica said, I think about goals for the future. Where am I going to be in 5 years? What do I really want to do? And is putting 20 minutes extra of work in tonight going to help with that goal or not help? So if it's going to help, I'm going to do it anyways.
Kelly, just out of curiosity, were you one of those children that their parents said, the stove is hot? Did you, burn yourself because you just didn't think that, oh, they're liars, I know better?
No, I wasn't that bad. However, if you said, you need to go to bed, you shouldn't stay up reading anymore, and then I would be the kid, hiding under my covers with a flashlight, reading my book. So, well,
you must have been one of the most interesting children ever, Kelly. Seriously, I can only imagine. Miss Michelle Hayes, what do you got for us?
Okay, for me, I often have the don't overcommit advice said to me, and I do heed it. I know how much I can handle as a person, and when I am capping myself, I draw back and kind of reevaluate, and then just to find that calm balance again. I don't like stress. Stress is, I just don't dig it at all.
I don't think anybody's like, you know what I want today? I want some stress.
Yeah, no, I know, but for me, I like a balance, and I'm very organized, so I know myself best. I realize my limitations.
Are you a little OCD?
No, I wouldn't say OCD. I would say organized. Okay, I'm organized.
Okay, no. I wasn't gonna judge you or anything like that. Seriously.
No. I gotta tell you, I was a young mother, and I have 4 children, and I work part-time, and I write all the time. I go to school. It's overwhelming. So if I don't have a balance, I don't function very well.
Well, I mean, okay, so there are certain things that happen, at least on my day-to-day, and I don't realize that it's, I want to say, I don't realize that it's compulsive. It's just stuff that I've done for years and years and years, and I don't realize it until somebody says, wow, you do this? Like, for example, I make my bed every single day. And then somebody was just like, your bed's made. That's kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know.
You had old school parents too, Nat.
Yeah, I did have old school parents.
Yeah, like you make your bed.
Right, exactly. But I think it goes.
Not OCD. Too many people were thinking about this OCD thing. Really? No.
Well, I mean, there's a very specific way that you fold a shirt. It's kind of like the Sheldon Cooper way of doing things, and I do that too. So I'm like really kind of guilty of that, and it's just I don't know. I can't like mentally undress somebody because then I start folding their clothes. My OCD. All right.
I want to see how you fold a shirt.
I'll show you sometime. I'll show you. It's really not that impressive. Okay. I want to know. This is aimed for Michelle and Jessica. I try to give each of these panelists something a little extra during the entree portion of the broadcast. Wattpad is a wonderful resource for writers and readers alike. However, it can begin to take over your life if you let it. How do you both appease your audience and your day-to-day life? I know it's a lot harder than it sounds. Miss Jessica, if you could kick that one off.
Well, one of the things that I've found that really helps me is I always have a notebook or paper with me everywhere. If you go through the house, in the car, we were taking someone to the airport, and they opened up the they pulled down the sun visor that time, and a notebook fell out and hit them in the head. So I just have all of these notebooks stashed just about anywhere that I might be. And even when I worked at the courthouse, if you got up underneath the toilet paper roll, there was a little notebook in there. Because you never know when you're going to have a spare moment.
And a sanitary one at that. Like, I don't even know what's on that
gloves. This was well thought out. But anyway, I found, I'll get like 5 minutes at a time. I'll be stuck on the phone. I get an opportunity, and it's just like, say, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it might be. And so I'll just write. Even right now, I've got my story notebook here, so I can, jot down ideas. And when my phone is working, which I can access the app, respond to comments and such like that. But unfortunately, Wattpad is, I'd love for it to be everything, that's my priority. I get up in the morning and all I have to do is write stories and put it on there. But the adulting tasks have to take priority. So I have to-do lists, and then if I don't get my work done, I can't be on Wattpad. And that's really depressing. But it's a great incentive to, fill out the invoices and do everything else. So that's kind of how I appease it.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, everybody has a different method. Yeah, exactly. I think you and Jessica would get along really, really well in real life. Because I think you have
I'm sure we would.
A very parallel way of attacking things. Oh, Michelle, what about you?
I just have to say, Jessica, you are so disciplined. Wow.
I just try to suck as much life out as I can. Wait, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
You're a fun sucker.
Whoa! That sounds like
fun.
Oh man, okay. That sounds nerdy. Okay, anyways, Michelle, go for it.
I did not mean it to sound that. Okay,
I'm sure.
All right. For me, I I make certain not to allow Wattpad to consume me, as it's a very easy thing for me to get consumed with Wattpad. I think Sarah hit the nail on the head in one of our earlier episodes. She referred to Wattpad as Wattpad crack. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
She hit it on the head, and it's true. It will consume you if you allow it to. But because I love to write so much, Wattpad goes hand in hand, because that love of mine is being acknowledged, read, and appreciated. So that being said, I do interact every single day for the most part, but I never forget that balance is a must in my life. I have a family, I have work, I have school, and writing. So the Wattpad is a part of my life. It is not my life.
Wattpad, it just doesn't define you. You define Wattpad. Yeah, I mean, it's true. It really is. It's very, very true. I can agree. All right, let's scoot over to question number 2. I like this one, and not just because I wrote it, but I want to know about, this in general with you guys. When writing, do you prefer sprinting or slow and methodical? Why? Ashlyn McCowan.
Okay. I'm about half and half. So sometimes, like, I get an idea and I just start writing and I'm very inspired and I just kind of sprint my way through it. And then sometimes I kind of just need to scale back and focus on the technical side. So I don't really have a preference. It's kind of whatever I'm going with. The thing I do notice, though, is if I write too fast and I have long periods of time where I'm writing really fast, I get sloppy. And I read over my drafts and I kind of think, what am I doing, So I think it helps to kind of just take a deep breath and sort of sit back and focus on the technical side, which isn't as fun at all, and it's really, I don't know if that's anyone's preference, like working on grammar, but it has to be done. So that's what I try to balance things out with.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I think, a lot of people, they do hybrid versions of things. It's not either or. This was kind of a trick question in the first place. I have a feeling that most of you do a hybrid, but the way that you do it it's all going to be different. Jessica, what about you?
Well, I sometimes do the hybrid, but for the most part, I sprint. I only get small chunks of time to write in, and so as soon as I get that, I am tearing up the keyboard as fast as I can. And actually, my laptop here that I'm using to do the chat, I've worn off most of the letters and there are indentations from my fingers because apparently typing too long, too fast, you will erode those keys. And yeah, so sprinting all the way. And I've found that then that tends to silence my inner critic because otherwise I start saying, that's stupid. Are you sure you want? No, you could be a little bit more honest about that. No, you could definitely say it better. And then off my mind goes and a lot less gets done. So
I can see that. No. That's a really, really good reason for sprinting in the first place because it doesn't give your brain enough chance or enough time to catch up and say, don't do that. Yeah, I get it.
You don't want to write with your brain. Wait.
Yeah, right, something like that. I don't know. There's going to be two sides.
Faster.
Right. Kelly, what about you?
So I enjoy both. I enjoy sprinting and taking my time while writing. I'm typically not someone who obsesses over details. However, when I do get stuck on something, it could even be like a sentence, as in one sentence in a paragraph. I might get stuck on it for like 20 minutes. I think I've talked about that on here before. And like read it out loud to myself and then go back and like retype it like 7 times, and half the time it ends up coming out almost exactly the first time around. However, I tend to just write whatever suits my mood best. So if I want to lay in bed all day on Saturday in my pajamas and write there, then that's going to work better for me than forcing myself to like sit at a desk and sprint. So slow methodical can be helpful, especially if you're writing a very involved scene or chapter with loads of characters and important details. But I like to mix it up and do what works best for me.
Well, there you go. I like it. That's good. Michelle.
Okay. For me, it depends on if I'm running behind or not. Mostly it is slow and methodical, but I have had times when I am mad dashing to the end. I write every day with the exception of the weekend, but there are times, like every writer out there, I draw a complete blank on what's going to happen next, and then I'm up to the wee hours, putting the end of a chapter in. I feel rushed. It doesn't feel as slow and methodical.
Sure.
I give myself deadlines because I do work best with them. So that's me.
Well, the whole deadlines thing, I mean, does that ever really put a negative kind of pressure on you?
Probably. That's what Danny said the other night. But hey, for me, I like it. I feel very organized that way.
Okay, all right. I mean, as long as as long as
I feel
the
accomplished when I get it
behooves
done.
you.
It's like
Yes,
my
okay.
checklist. Okay, finish chapter 20. It has to be done by Friday. Check. It's off my list of things to do.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, there's something very self-gratifying about checking off a box. It's nice.
Also liberating, yes.
Yes. There was a little while earlier. There were two ladies that were, I think it was Jody and Lucy, on the live chat, and they were talking about something that I would love for the panel to dig in on. Lucy goes to say this: I think it's a shame when writers deliberately make themselves unapproachable. I mean, there's a difference between being honest about your limitations and just being rude. And they're talking about people's bios on Wattpad. And when people say, absolutely, 110%, no, I do not do read requests or critiques or anything like that. I want to know, ladies, how do you feel about this? And I'm just going to go down the line like we have been. Ashlyn?
Okay, so is it how we feel about people that are, like, stringent in their bios?
I guess so. I mean, because there
it?
are a few people that I've come across a few profiles where it's just they are so, very adamant
Cutthroat.
about,
Okay.
I am not reading you. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't appreciate that as an author, like people that do that. I know when I was first starting out on Wattpad, I didn't know the social sort of, maybe not social, but just the unspoken guidelines. It's just something you learn with time, and I know that if I had had a favorite author and I would have kind of been spamming them with read requests and they hadn't taken the time to sort of say something kind to me, I might have been sort of turned off of their work or Wattpad in like a negative way. So I think it's important to be very positive and approachable, and if you're a writer and you see someone that's new to the community that's going around doing that, then maybe just approach them gently and say, like, in this community, that's not considered polite. And just kind of, be a little bit more, have a little bit more grace for people. I think that's the biggest thing.
That's right, people. The pageant queen's talking about grace. Surprise? Not really. I don't know. What about you, Jessica?
I don't appreciate it when authors do that, but on the one hand, I guess I don't mind that they do, because if they're going to be that aggressive and that cutthroat with their bios telling people to back off, I think it's better for them to be warned, so that you don't get that unsuspecting writer like, oh, I love you, please, read my story, and then they get this hate-filled direct message that they set to. I mean, because I've talked to some writers who have actually, they set up their not on Wattpad but on other groups, and some of them have copy and paste messages to chew people out who break the rules and such like that. So if you're going to be that much of a curmudgeon, then great, let everyone know that you're a horrible person. However,
I really like that word, Jessica. I really like it.
Oh my gosh.
You're great.
But I also feel that as authors, we don't get where we are alone. No artist does. We're all intertwined, we're all growing, we're all learning. And sure, we're not going to have time to respond to every request, but as much as possible, being gracious, as Ashlyn was saying, being compassionate, and not thinking that we're above other people is really important, because some writers are better than others, but we've all been touched by stories by absolute amateurs and masters. So.
Absolutely. You never know when you're going to come across one of those people that's a prodigy of some sort, or even somebody who might be really, really accomplished, but you would never know because they kind of keep a certain amount of anonymity on the site. So be careful out there, Wattpad. Kelly, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. I do. I tend to get a lot of direct messages, and I adore them. I adore everyone who sends me them. I think it is so sweet. It is so thoughtful, and I really appreciate it. I tend to find that I don't have enough time to answer them all in one, like as they come in. So what I typically do is try and, sit down for a couple of hours on the weekend and answer as many as I can. I do definitely understand why people say, oh, can you check this out? Please let me know what you think. Again, it comes down to time. And what I've done to kind of help with that, I created a little question and answer with Kelly and Blount book. And so I just asked people to please put their read requests in there. And then as I can get to them, I will go through there and I'll let them know that I've started to read their book and I left some feedback, because it's definitely important. People leave me comments all the time and it's so appreciated, and it's just so thoughtful, and like the girl said earlier, like we wouldn't be able to do this without them. So I always want to show my appreciation. It just a lot of times comes down to time, and there might be a couple days or weeks or even a month before I'm able to get to something, but I do try to get to it. The one thing that I'm not as big of a fan of is when someone just sends me the link but doesn't even say anything. They're just like, boom, and it's this random story, and I'm like, what, why? Yes, I see. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to read that? Comment on your picture? Did you write that book? Like, what are you doing? So sometimes it helps to have some words with the link instead of just like the cover or, sharing it that way, because it can be a little confusing. But it's definitely good to give back, and I think that's what Wattpad's all about, and a lot of authors on Wattpad are. So if you can take a few minutes out of your day to check out somebody's story and leave a comment, I think it can mean a lot to them, and it's important to try.
No, that's great. I love that. And I don't know why, but when the whole just sending a link and nothing else, it'd be like if the Salvation Army, they didn't like ring a bell or anything during Christmas time. They just threw the bucket at you as you walked into a department store. It's just, what do you want me to do? I don't even know what to do. Okay, whatever. Michelle, do you have anything to add? I know that this is kind of like a hot button issue.
Yes, with me especially, because I think people need to remain gratitude, number one, and humble. Be humble. Don't get too big for your britches. I don't appreciate when I see somebody's, and I have come across a few bios that come across quite rude. So my thing is, in lieu of being so rigid, try to deliver your bio with some poise. Yeah.
Yes, like a beautiful swan. Deliver your bio. Yes, I like it.
Yes, I mean, don't get too big for your britches, folks.
This is true. All right, Miss Ashlyn, I'm going to put you in the hot seat for a minute. As a college student, sick and bears, she goes to the university, or Baylor University, I should say. There are a number of distractions which can keep the pen off the page. Can you offer any advice to those who struggle with the books and, well, the books?
All right. I'm going to offer a disclaimer here and say that I'm not the reigning authority because I'm very overwhelmed this semester. And, I don't know how much I actually have to say that's going to be helpful, but do my best. I am an old school advocate of a planner. I am in love with my planner. I just got one from like the New York Public Library Association or whatever. It was really cheap, and I just kind of I write my whole life in it basically, and I don't just write it. I keep every single commitment, and that really, really helps me to stick with everything I've prioritized. And then another thing that kind of helps is to be looking for inspiration and to be constantly inspired. So I find that even with the things I've scheduled, I don't necessarily have as much motivation to go write unless I have an idea that I'm like really excited about, or something that I'm kind of excited about that's waiting for me. So if I meet an interesting person, I'm kind of in a strange situation, I've like explored a cool setting, then I just kind of jot that down and I put it in a file. And it sort of helps me when I'm looking for inspiration to kind of be able to have this bright spot at the end of my day that I can go work on. So, yeah, that's kind of my advice. Just be looking for inspiration and be wise with your time.
Very nice. I like it. Thank you, Miss Ashlyn. And to round this out, question number 3. More often than not, the characters we write are forced to adapt. Ironically, so are we. In order to get your story out there, you have to make writing a priority. How do you do this? Miss Jessica.
Well, for me, my schedule changes very much, but the one thing that I try to do is when I get up in the morning, and it's usually between 4 and 5, I try to just dig in and write if I'm conscious. Otherwise, I go out and I run. And while I'm working out or anything, I'm plotting my stories, I'm outlining them in my head, and then I get back and I try to fit in an hour or so of writing. And then, like I said, throughout the rest of the day, whenever I get a spare moment, I write. And then, when everything's done, I get to hopefully curl up and write some more while I'm watching TV with my husband. But the one thing that does get cut, if we have, if I'm not getting enough time for writing television, movies, stuff like that, I can't cut out all interaction with people because, you know, they're necessary.
People, I like that.
But yeah, that's just, I just try to make writing as much of a priority as I can throughout the day without completely neglecting everything else. So sometimes, like, I haven't taken the trash out since yesterday. So, but the bed gets made. Oh no! The bed has to be made. That's unnegotiable.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, okay, all right. Just so you know, because I do understand that you cannot see the things that we type. But right now, you think that the live chat goes in crazy-ass tangents. We're talking about killer dust mites right now. That's what's going on our end. So, randomness, it's very appreciated here at the Corner Booth. Ladies, we're actually kind of crushed on time, so Kelly, if you can round out this question for us, and then we are going to work our way over to Pass the Salt. But I do want to know, Kelly, how do you make writing a priority?
So it can be difficult, really difficult, especially when you're forced to adult. But to me, it's about making sacrifices, and everybody's kind of hit on this. So if I want to go out for a drink after work with my friends, but I really need to get another chapter done, it's a sacrifice. You know, I'm going to have to hang out with my friends next time and get that chapter done. And, you know, you need to write to improve your craft. You need to write as much as you can and read as much as you can. So, again, those things take time, and a lot of times that leads to sacrifices. Maybe you won't get to watch a show that you want to watch, or, you know, go out to a movie or do something like that. But, again, it comes down to your goals and what you want to hit and how you want to maintain, you know, your writing. Are you going to just have it as a hobby? Do you want to be a professional? What do you want? And how many sacrifices are you going to have to make to get there? Because I think at some point we all have to make them.
Absolutely. Very well said. Thank you, Kelly. We are going over to the portion of the broadcast which we call Pass the Salt. It's a way we add a little flavor to these broadcasts. And just so you know, if this is the first time you're watching or you're still a little fuzzy on what this actually is, it's just an honest observation, opinion, quote, or factoid in 140 characters or less. After sharing theirs on the broadcast, I'm hoping the panel will tweet them out using our hashtag TCBWhat. Find them on Twitter. Love them, love them, love them. Miss Michelle, let's start with you.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Weaving dreams is not for the faint of heart, but for one who has a warrior's soul.
Oh, that is so pretty.
Whoa! And
I petitioned
I
for
just
that to be
say
fun.
why I went for that. I got another rejection letter this weekend from an agent, and I was so crushed and deflated. And yes, I felt sorry for myself and had a big tall glass of sangria. So
Solved everything. I'm telling you.
It's tough dreaming, isn't it? It's not an easy thing to dream.
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's where that comes from, guys.
That's a good quote, though. I like
Thanks,
that.
Babe. Thank
Seriously.
you.
It almost like you channeled Betsy Ross a little bit on that. I don't know. But it happens. Miss Ashlyn.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure where I got my quote. I think I got it from the Attentive Soul on Wattpad. So shout out to her, and I think she might have written it. Yeah, or gotten it from someone else. But it's actually been my screensaver because I just love it. So it is. It says, "This is the first, the wildest, and the wisest thing I know, that the soul exists and is built entirely out of attentiveness."
Ooh.
Nice.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's definitely something Jennifer Corman would either write.
That was a goosebumper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful, yeah.
Miss Jessica.
All right, mine is finding balance isn't about perfection. It's about knowing what works best for your present and future and harmonizing those goals.
Ooh.
Y'all are just knocking this out of the park tonight. I love
We
it.
are. Go.
Just awesome. So Kelly, yours better be awesome, or it's just gonna be really anticlimactic.
Be prepared to be let down.
Oh,
It's about killer dust mites.
Oh, no,
So-
no.
I originally planned on going with the Urban Dictionary definition of adulting, which was to do grown-up things and hold responsibilities such as a 9-to-5 job, a mortgage, rent, car payment, or anything else that makes one think of a grown-up. However, I found a meme that I like better, and it said, "I have decided I no longer want to be an adult, so if anyone needs me, I'll be in my blanket fort coloring."
Oh, that's so cool.
That's from Ron Me Cards, adulting.
Oh my, that's great.
You are never too old to like pillow fort. And if your pillow fort doesn't have like an armory of Nerf weaponry, you are not pillow forting right. So just to let you know. That's going to take us over to this tie-up of the broadcast, which we call Check Please. I want to let you know that we do encourage you to take the challenge on Wattpad to write 10,000 words in 30 days. There is a link down below to take the pledge. It is a hashtag called Just Write It. And this month, they are doing, of course, horror. Surprise, surprise. We are in October. If you want to talk more about it via chat on Twitter, the Wattpad 4 does a weekly Twitter chat at standard time and would love to see you there. So I know a lot of people interact with that hashtag on a weekly basis. A lot of the people that are in our live chat right now do it, and they have a lot of fun the entire hour, and it really doesn't feel like an hour. It goes by so fast, it's crazy. The other thing is our friends over at the Word Nerds are right after us at 7:30, and if you ask Jody Petrella, she usually knows what they're talking about before anybody else does. I have no idea how she does it. But I do know that they are gearing up for something called NaNoWriMo, which we are going to dig in during the month of November. If you've never heard of it before, it's shorthand for National Novel Writing Month. And it's the big brother of Just Write It, the Wattpad program. It's to write 50,000 words in 30 days, the length of a standard novel. And there are so many programs that are doing something every single November. We hope that you can find somebody to share it with on Wattpad. We hope that you share it with us on the Corner Booth. I do want to also give Jessica Fry the floor to tell you a little bit about a group called the Watt Padres.
All right, so the Watt Padres, formerly the Wattpad class of 2014, we're hosting a live chat on Twitter every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this week we're going to be talking about horror and nightmares and writing terrifying things that just get your blood curdling. And we're also going to have a fun game so that you can find out how you'll die in a haunted house or, you know, some sort of place like that. So if you're curious...
I'm so excited!
Yes, it's so much fun. Murder, mayhem, chaos. It's everything you could hope for. So this Tuesday, October 20th at, I'm pretty sure it's 8 p.m., but we'll be sending out an announcement with the hashtag WattPadres. So if you want to follow someone who's heading that up, it would be Amber K. Bryant, and that's her Twitter tag. So thank you so much, Nat.
Excellent. We're very excited about that. And I will probably die because I did not make my bed. And that's another thing that's
going on
just for us on the panel at the Corner Booth. I'm sorry that you can't be a part of that joke, but you know we have to have them here and there. I do want to let you know that we are having episode 30 next week, same time, same great channel, and it is called Orange and Black and Red All Over. The episode description goes like this: trick or treat and preparation for All Hallows Eve. We're talking all things horror, just like the Watt Padres will be. It'll be a nice little stepping stone to us, and we're going to figure out how to scare the socks off your readers. So really, 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 really interested in that because I want to know how to do this. I know we have some very, very talented writers on our panel who can do it very effectively. We are going to be welcoming back Catherine Arlene, as well as a Wattpadder named Monrosie, along with Sarah Benson, Rita Kovac, Kellyanne Blount, and Ashlyn McCowan. We're going to hopefully have some really fun costumes somewhere in this episode. So yeah, pretty excited about that. Pretty stoked. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us here at the Corner Booth. We hope that you've had a great time, and like I said, we will see you next week. Panel, if you would please say goodnight.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.